I'd like to call tonight's committee of the whole meeting to order for December the 12th, 2022. I would like to, sorry, December the 5th. What did I say?
Well,
Oh, sorry, December the 5th of 2022. I'd like to recognize that Mayor Snook is on Zoom tonight. She is in Ottawa. Councillor Oberdorfer will be trying to join in. She can. And Councillor Lundmark is traveling right now, so he may be able to jump in also. I'd like to take a moment to recognize tonight that we are on Treaty 5 territory, traditional territory of NCN Cree Nation and the homeland of the Métis, and that we are all treaty people. I will look for approval of the agenda tonight. Councillor Wong, seconded by Councillor Fitzpatrick. All those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. First on our agenda tonight, we have a presentation. We have three presentations tonight. The first one will be from the Murdered and Missing Indigenous Women Group about a monument. I'll have you come forward to the table, please. This has already been discussed from council, and we've asked for them to come back to provide us with a little bit more information. So this is a PowerPoint of the project that they're looking to do, and they also will be having their lead designer who will be joining by Zoom if council has any clarifying questions. Just for everybody who's here tonight, how our process is for presentations and delegation is you will get 10 minutes to present your presentation to mayor and council. If there's any clarifying questions that council would like to ask, they will at that time. And then we will receive your information and administration will get back to you on what the next process will be. So in saying that, it is 7:02 and you have 10 minutes. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I would just want to thank everybody for allowing some time for myself and my colleague to come this evening. My name is Heidi Spence and I'm the director of the MPO MMIWG Liaison Unit. So the presentation today is based off of the commemoration project that we are doing. So our unit has been active and servicing families and survivors who have been impacted by the issue of MMIWG. We also provide services to those who are survivors of gender-based violence and to us LGBTQ people. So yeah, we've been doing the work since 2017. We do have two offices, one here in Thompson, and then we have another one in Winnipeg. And I currently have a staff of 13 on our roster. So we're growing pretty quickly. I'll go to the next slide. So again, some of the service delivery that we do is we provide health supports and cultural supports again to families and individuals who are impacted by MMIWG. We do a lot of land-based healing activities, empowerment, advocacy, and education. And again, creating various tools for wellness for families and individuals who have been impacted by the issue of MMIWG. I just included a few calls for justice from the National Inquiry into the Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and Girls. So again, I just wanted to include those in our presentation. I won't read them out because I know we're kind of stuck on a little bit of time, but it goes with building partnerships and creating allies within the communities that we work in. And again, educating the public. So those are, I just included those two there. So a little bit about the commemoration project. We just recently wrapped up a handful of community visits. So we had a chance to go into communities pre-COVID, and then the pandemic came and we had to put the project on pause quite a few times because we couldn't go in and do the work we needed to do. So a big part of this project was going in to communities and letting them know, the commemoration project is not only to commemorate the loss of their loved ones who have been taken, who are still missing, but to also hear from them. We wanted to hear their stories and hear their feedback as to what they would like to see for a permanent structure in the north as for a monument. we know there's a monument in southern Manitoba, but we wanted to have one in the north here for the family members that reside in northern Manitoba. So over the 2-day period, we the first day we did a lot of those empowerment activities and engaging family members with different healing tools and of course feasting, that's really important. And on the second day, we had our lead designer, David Thomas. Him and his team, they came with us on these visits, and during that day 2, that's when he was able to facilitate, the group sessions where we kind of pulled those stories and took all the ideas, and he was able to come up with a design that we now have, that we want to build. So as you can see here in the next slide, this is the concept that has come up through the stories that the families have shared, their ideas, and what they would like to see. So we did have a few different ideas, but we were able to do virtual engagements as well, to kind of finalize and come up with what we have here. So that's the back part. Wait, I don't think we have a picture for the back part, but there's also some design on the back that represents the Northern Lights, and there's like stars and whatnot and different lighting. So that's the monument, and we had an opportunity to kind of look at it through one of those VR systems, which was kind of cool to it gave us an idea of how big it's going to be and what it'll look like. So we're really excited about that. It would be, if we had more time, it would have been kind of cool to let everyone have an opportunity to put it on to see what it was going to look like. So that's the monument that we're looking to build and have placed here in Thompson. So here's the site, the potential site that we would like to have the monument have its final resting place. So if it's on the hill by the Miles Hart Bridge, so not on the side where the airplane is, but just across up on the hill where the Millennium Trail kind of starts. So you can see that we added some pictures in there and then a little bit of a map to kind of get an idea, but I'm sure everyone's familiar with the area that we're looking at wanting to place in. And the reason why we chose this location is because I find that, whenever we do have community events around MMIWG, I find that the community members kind of naturally go there to, do ribbon tying and to do tobacco offerings. So, and we've sat up on that hill a number of times, offering tobacco and giving that, that safe place for family members to come and visit. And, especially on those tough days and those significant days that, we remember MMIWG. What's the next slide? So here are some of the potential partnerships. So Wage, they're our funders. They are funding the project. So we work closely with them. And then so then we have the city of Thompson, so that's why we're here today. We have Valet and also Manitoba Hydro. So in addition to working with Wage, these are the other potential partners that we would like to work with. We've already had an opportunity to engage with Manitoba Hydro, and we've had some engagement also with Valet. And then we're here this evening to speak with you all. So what we're looking for is in-kind support for the electrical connection and a concrete pad where the monument is going to sit. And then the I guess infrastructure that would go with it to have the monument placed there. And then to either help with the land or help securing the land, because I'm not too entirely sure the area if that's the city of Thompson or the province. So either way, we would like a little bit of assistance to see if we can have that little parcel of space to have our monument sit permanently here in Thompson. And that concludes our presentation, and if you guys have any questions.
Thank you. I'll go to
Yeah.
Councilor Wong, go ahead.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. First of all, thank you, Lady, to come and present this and the media, some the board member here too as well. I just have a quick question. When you look at the monument, when you want to put it up there, what direction are you facing? Are you facing the north? Are you facing the road? Are you facing?
I think we wanted to have it kind of on an angle, maybe facing, because we don't want necessarily the backside to come like from either direction, so potentially facing like the road on a bit of an angle.
Oh, but
The reason I'm asking because you say you have two sides, right?
It's two-sided, yeah,
So
so
I don't want the one side to hide.
hidden, yeah. So
So I'm
that's,
asking that question.
yeah, so I think, that's something that we would want to further kind of look at. Again, because it is two-sided, but much of the design is in the front. And then with the lighting, the back would light up, so if folks would take a walk around, like when it's a little bit darker, they would have an opportunity to see what it looks like from the back, but yeah, that's a good question, thank you.
thank you. Any other questions for council? Just ask administration, quick clarification about the land. She had asked if that land is City of Thompson. Go ahead, City Manager.
Yeah, the land is owned by the city of Thompson.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. And just one other comment I have is perhaps concrete pad, that kind of, can we work maybe with the contractors with the bridge? If there's gonna be concrete there, can we do something with them since we're gonna be working down there at the same area? My second comment is, what is your timeline?
So we're looking at, ideally probably in April, I think. About April, we were given a little bit more time, to continue working on the project, because again, we were kind of delayed, so, we're looking at about April, and then given the time of year it is right now, it's pretty cold, so, it would probably be best to move it when it starts getting a little bit warmer to do the work, but we do plan on doing a unveiling before that of even potentially prototypes where we would still invite family members to come to Thompson, and then we would have all the information as to where the final resting spot of the monument will go.
Thank you. Anybody else? Thank you very much. Thank you. We'll receive this for information. We did already want to discuss it. We look forward to partnering with you on this. It's very important. So we will have follow-up given to you after this meeting from the administration.
Awesome, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes.
Before we move on, I just want to identify that Councillor Oberdorfer has joined us by Zoom. I'd also like to recognize that we have Councillor Cheryl Moore and Councillor Ron Spence from NCN, and if I'm missing anybody else, thank you very much for attending. I think your Chief Levasseur is with Mayor Smook in Ottawa, so I think it clearly shows the relationship and the work we do together within our community. And now we look forward to having to go to one of your meetings, so we can have that set up with that, so we can definitely come to you. So thank you for being here. Our next presentation tonight will be from the Thompson Recycling Center. And for our new counselors and for the public, this is a regular presentation that we get every year from the Recycling Center, as they are one of our controlled entities. So this is what they present to us every year. It kind of keep us up to date, and any capital projects or information that they need us to know before we actually get into the budget process. So, and it's been a few years that we've got a good capital plan, I think, now that has been worked out, so it's great. So I will give you ladies your 10 minutes, so you can start whenever.
Good evening. I'd like to say congratulations to everybody, first of all, on being elected councillor and mayors and stuff this year. I'm Cheryl Mulrooney. I'm the manager of the Thompson Recycling Center.
Linda Warner, I'm a board member, have been for a few years now.
So as you can see, our mission statement, we're the recycling center for the hub of the north. We recycle for the city of Thompson and for various outlying communities. Next slide. Since October 5th, 2015, the TRC has operated with the president, treasurer, secretary, and city council. So I'm sure we'll find out who will be sitting on the TRC board shortly. And it's 4 directors at large. Our current collective agreement will be up this December 19th. We'll be going into negotiations in January of 2023. We have a consistent workforce, usually of 7 staff. It fluctuates from time to time. Partnership with Manitoba Justice, so people can get their hours, community service hours in at the recycling center. And can't really read much, we processed 61,412 kilograms each month up until September 30th of 2022. We haven't calculated October yet. One of our main concerns going forward as a recycling center is the MMSM draft transitional plan. It hasn't been approved by the province yet, but it's something that's a real concern to the recycling center. We don't have a say in what really happens with the plan. We're the processor, so we can't either opt in or opt out of that plan. We just have to go by if the city opts in or opts out of the plan. So we're just waiting to see what happens there. And either way, we still have to make a bid. We will have to bid to get the recycling.
Yeah, just another note on that, currently we're funded by the city and also MMSN. But the plan is it'll be over probably 5 years that the producer of plastics and the people producing all this stuff and putting it into the public system, they're gonna be responsible for paying for the recycling, which is, they have that system in BC and it really works well. So it puts them responsible. So we are working towards that, the province, we rely on the province. So it's gonna be a 5-year plan probably. So eventually the funding from the city will cease. But the Thompson Recycling Center will still operate. It's just who's paying the bill. It's basically.
And we had some prices for our material drop drastically since September. We used to make money off of our cardboard, which we get paid $170 per metric ton. Now we have to pay to send our shipments out. The cardboard prices now, we have to pay upwards of $170 a metric ton to ship out. And 2 of our suppliers are currently not taking any more cardboard because they have too much of a backlog in their system and their suppliers aren't taking the cardboard. So we only have one alternative to ship it. It's the highest price company we have to ship to. So one of our other companies that gives us a lot lower price, he's hoping that by next month, we'll be able to start shipping to them again. So that will help us out in the long run. Slide. Those are our safety stats from 2016 to 2022. 2022 has been our best year so far. No near misses, 5 incidents, and no lost time. Process material, September 30th, 2022. You can see that the cardboard is our most processed material. And that's why now at paying for the cardboard, it's costing us quite a bit of money because that's generally what we process is cardboard and commingled. Quarterly stats from 2020 to 2022. We're down a little bit this quarter from 2021. A big drop in that was from the kiosk down. In 2021, around this time, we got 30,000 kilograms of material from them, which dropped considerably from the years before. But this year we only got 4,000. And that's only one supplier. Another issue is trying to get we might have the material in the cold storage area, or we're having a hard time getting trailers to ship it out. Companies are behind and they don't have the staff, so it's really hard for us to get the trailers out and sent down to Winnipeg. And that's just comparison from 2018 to 2022. Okay, and that basically tells you how long it takes for the material to decompose if it went to the landfill. Takes a long time even for newspaper, which I was surprised, anywhere from 2 months to 50 years to decompose in the landfill. Aluminum cans, plastic bottles, glass bottles are like 1 million years. And we do recycle a lot of glass at the recycling center. So we're operating within the 2022 budget of $506,310. And we'd like to thank the city of Thompson for continuing to help us and being a big impact in our recycling. And there's a capital projects plan that Kathy was talking about. We definitely, I know it says 2025, I believe, for the commercial van, but we're already having a lot of repairs and issues. We just have to get a brand new door in the back of the commercial van. We put quite a lot of money into that van so far this year for repairs. And then the sort line belt will probably be our next, will be the first one. We haven't had it replaced in a long time. So that's the one we're aiming for 2023. To replace that commercial van now, we bought it, a used one, at about approximately $32,000. I phoned the same dealership we bought from, and they said now the cube vans are approximately $70,000. Because of COVID, they're so hard to find, they can't get them anywhere. So it's actually doubled in price to buy a used one. And obviously, by not investing, you get breakdowns. You get breakdowns and stuff like that with the business.
Just wanted to add, like, recycling center, it does seem, well, why should we fund you? But if we aren't recycling all this material, then it's going to the Thompson landfill, and you can see that it doesn't break down. It's gonna fill up the landfill. And we either, we're gonna have to expand the landfill if all that material is going there. So, yeah, it's something to consider. I think it's money wisely spent.
I think more and more people are getting on board with the use of the recycling now. It's probably was kind of a pain for them at the beginning, but a lot of them are catching on. We're getting more and more calls about what they can recycle, what they can't recycle, which is good. So we're getting a lot of people dropping off. It's amazing how many people come and drop off recycling at the center. So it's really nice to see.
Sure. Thanks for
So
your
if
time.
there are any questions or comments from council on this? This will also be a part of your budget deliberations when we move into budget for 2023. But did you have any questions for them tonight? Councilor McIver?
The question I have is like for the apartment buildings. They're recycling there. Like. You see the garbage bin and then that's it. So where, and then it's like the place out power.
They do have, they do call us on, but it's on an on-call basis for recycling. They don't have a regular pickup time. So it's just whenever their recycling is full, they'll call us and we'll go pick it up. I don't think they have anything in each apartment block, like bins. I know I had another apartment complex call me. And they wanted some little household bins put out, like even via the mail, so that when people get the flyers and everything, they just throw them in those bins and they're not getting wasted and put in the paper. For the garbage, I mean, but yeah, we don't go to each individual apartment. The apartment blocks have the recycle bins outside and then we just pick them up.
I think that's what I said, like where I am, if there's no recycling. And it's where I requested it at our meeting and that. With our flyers and that, it goes right into the garbage, Yeah, and then I'm going, why is it not recycled? And it's where we don't have no recycling bin.
And it's a cell tower.
You said, no,
Wherever it is, they can just give me a call. We have little household bins in the office. And we can definitely give them the free.
okay,
And we can definitely give them some so they can put it out there.
bring me a number down.
Sure. 677
Okay.
7991. That's Cheryl.
999. Okay.
Any other comments by council? Councilor Wong?
I don't have much to add. Thank you, Melanie. Just to say thank you for Cheryl to step up to the plate and do this. And I know it's not easy. Even after Billy Joe left and everything looks like running smooth. And if you guys have any trouble, just give us a shout and I'll be there to be there.
Thank you.
Thanks.
It's been a great learning curve, actually.
Thank you.
So
Yeah,
just
she's doing a great job, by the way.
in terms of the council appointments that is actually discussed tonight on number 11 on our agenda. So we will either be getting you the same name, a new name or something, but we are discussing that. And secondly, the multi-material stewardship transition plan. I think it's really important that you communicate that to the city because who knows how that's going to impact you and the timeline for dollars and all that. So please keep us abreast of that or to the council member that's on there. My last comment to you is a great job on your safety stats for 2022. Wow.
They're
Good.
doing really well.
That continues.
Yes, I hope it does.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Our next presentation is from the Thompson Chamber of Commerce. I think you've heard me say the last time, so you have 10 minutes to make your presentation, and then if there's any clarification questions from council, and then we will receive your presentation for information. So if you want to introduce yourself, it's 7:25, time is starting.
Good evening, all. My name is Susan Buckle with Walker's Real Estate, and I'm here with the Downtown Biz. And I'd like to introduce Sid Varma and Wilfred Beckman, who will facilitate or present or bring forward our presentation.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks a lot for giving us the opportunity to do this presentation. So on behalf of Downtown Biz, we are presenting this presentation, and the
First slide, please. Ken. Can you get to the next slide, please? Thank you.
so the businesses which are mentioned in the slide number 1, these are the part of Downtown Biz. Downtown Biz is working hand in hand with Thompson Chamber of Commerce, and Thompson Chamber of Commerce is a group of businesses, but these specific businesses are situated in downtown or surrounding downtown. So there's approximately 22 business owners, business entities mentioned in here, which have been getting together for almost, we have done 7 to 8 meetings in last 5 to 7 months. And we will be presenting the synopsis, what we have discussed and how far we have reached so far. So the goal of this presentation, next slide, please. So the goal of this Downtown Biz is the combined efforts of Thompson Chamber of Commerce along with Downtown Biz. 22 businesses, mostly located on Selkirk Avenue and Churchill Drive. They employ approximately 450 people, all these businesses combined together. And there's a volume of $4 million in property and business taxes. So this group altogether brings this much revenue on the table. Next slide, please. Our goal is to the end goal of this group is to create a safer and cleaner downtown. This topic has been in discussion for years and years. Why we are discussing this right now? Downtown Biz, the business owners, we have witnessed in past that this has been discussed, and the kind of remediation actions which has been discussed, the kind of implementation for that. The Downtown Biz group is right now, the frustration level is so high that we actually came together, discussed this problem, addressed this, and now we are presenting this in front of the leadership so that we can have some conducive actions taken. To protect the business investment in Thompson, it's not about the existing businesses, what we are doing over here. All these existing businesses, which I showed you in the first slide, they are already invested in Thompson, not only now, like they have been over here for years and years, and they will be staying over here years and years. But even to secure the future investment, this group is doing a very serious activity, and we want the concentration of efforts towards this group. The focus meeting was held to understand various key issues and to work towards the solution. So every business owner over here in the room, like we deal with problems on a daily basis. It's not just discussing the problems only. We have some possible solutions which we are recommending to the leadership over here, and how those solutions can be implemented. We have solutions and support for that as well. So this is one of the picture in which we have got together. We have done several meetings like this. The room has been more full than this, and the room sometimes have a little bit of less attendance as well. So over the past 3 years, in the battle of understanding and addressing key issues facing downtown businesses and creating a safer and cleaner downtown. This is our statement for this group. During our meetings, we have discussed this problem, that how serious of an issue this is. So when we did a vote for the number of people, the business owners who are actually in the room, the kind of solutions which have been implemented so far, we asked the business owners, are we winning? Are we getting any better? or are we about the same? So the response is in front of everybody. Majority of the people saying that we are getting worse, and there's a substantial amount of percentage which is saying that we have almost lost it. And there's fairly the similar number of percentage which is saying that we have totally lost it. These are the people, these are the owners who have serious investment in Thompson, right? They have created jobs over here. These businesses have employment opportunities, and these businesses in future will be having even more employment opportunities. Over 40 issues were identified in 6 different categories. So when we are trying to squeeze in as much information in our allotted 10 minutes, and being business owners, we know how to best utilize our time. So these are the list of different categories which we have identified after working for 6 to 7 months, so that we can prominently show that this is where we want the attention to: business disruption, downtown safety, vagrancy, public intoxication, garbage litter, and city responsibility. Like, these are the 6 different categories which we have identified in the bigger picture, and to squeeze that in one slide. For consideration, there's 2 reports which have been already submitted by our group. Surveys and personal interviews. We have met the mayor candidates before the election. We basically discussed that this is the kind of initiative, this is the kind of activity our downtown biz has been doing. So numerous actions and solutions have been suggested, and now is the time, the leadership is in place, that we want some action to be taken and to be discussed. From here onwards, I have my fellow colleague Walker over here. He has been very instrumental in bringing our group together, and he will be explaining from here onwards.
Thanks, Sid. So my participation is, I've been in business, as some of you know, in Thompson for 51 years. But I do not own a business downtown. So my role here for the chamber was to facilitate the group sessions and do the surveys and bring all the information together. And you have apparently received already 2 reports that hopefully you had a chance to look at. This is a summary of the reports. And these are the issues that we've identified. What is going on here for businesses? A lot of times, most people, public or customers, don't understand. It's very, very costly for their business disruption. The increased cost for insurance, increased cost for safety, theft that's going on, vandalism costs a lot of money to these business people. And overall, the key issue is number 2, is that it stems from unacceptable and illegal behaviors. It has nothing to do with age or criteria or gender. It's those conditions that are creating these problems. And when we did survey with the individual owners, we found out that literally 75% of them deal constantly with damaged property, threats to their staff and customers, human waste that they have to clean up, excess litter, and the amount of time that management has to deal with these particular issues. Number 4, and this is a concern too, there are staff, customers, and tenants who feel threatened and unsafe because these conditions are going on. Not something that we don't like to talk about, but those are the concerns that people have about going downtown at certain times or being accosted and so on. Many downtown business people have, and the surveys have indicated they have literally stopped calling the police because they feel it's a waste of time. The police either take too long, or they can't do anything, or somebody is removed from the building and 15 minutes later they're back in there again. It's beyond the scope sometimes they are SMB. A lot of people feel that the CSO program is not being effective and not working. And if you can go to the next slide, Tammy, please. We feel that some of the RCMP have certain important roles to play, but some of these issues are almost like nuisance calls that are beyond the scope of maybe the expertise level of the RCMP. They need to be addressed by other agencies. The city needs to understand the urgencies of these business complaints. In the private discussion we had with the mayor candidates on, I think it was October 11th, there were a couple of existing businesses who said they are very, very close to shutting down their business and leaving town because they can't handle all the disruption that's going on. That's a serious roadblock, certainly to recruitment and to investment. Number 11, we also realize that it's not a simple problem. It's not a simple solution. Everybody needs together, and that includes working with the neighboring communities and the city and the downtown business group must collaborate and kind of work together just to find a solution. Next slide, please. So I'm aware a little bit because I have some meetings here with the Chamber of Commerce that the city has had a safety and wellness plan, but there's very few people who know what that is. I understand it. Certainly, it's been in the works for 2 years. I know that the city had a little introduction to the Healing Center. Most people have no idea what that is all about. We're wondering if there are solutions in their 2 reports in a discussion or collaboration, will those solutions be integrated together to come up with a stronger action plan? Next slide, please. So at the end, I think of our meetings was, where do we go from here? You have now received the 2 reports. And what this group, I think, is asking for is to come up with a serious action plan within the next 100 days. Give, some time to take a look at everything, maybe consult with the group and so on. And we're suggesting that by March the 16th, that we come together and find out what the action plan is before next summer comes. Because obviously things quieten down downtown when it's this cold. People are literally not quite on the street as much. And we want to present or find a solution before next summer's here. So that's the intent of this meeting today. And I just want to say that, Sue, we're going to mention that there are people in the room who could just maybe introduce themselves to show who they're here. We can ask them to just stand up, give their name and
Okay,
their
we can do this quickly in fairness to the other presenters. We're already at 12 minutes, so we need to make sure we are standard in how we do things.
Cover me from KFC.
Thank you, North Cinema, and see Crossroad Lands.
And voting down, next question.
Kevin Keller from Thompson Ford. Roy Lima from the Westwood Mall at Thompson Plaza. Bernard Kelly, Vice Thompson. Joanna Siegel from Churchill Building.
Thank you. Oh, Lee,
Chris from Riverview Restaurant.
thank you.
Georgina Chichos from the restaurant building, the open the restaurant.
Thank you. Okay, thank you for your presentation. I'll go to council if you have any clarifying questions or comments that you would like. Councillor Colburn.
Thank you for the presentation. Thank you all for coming. You say this has been going on for 3 years. I was in business for almost 18 years as an owner, and I put up with it daily. But I was the only one complaining. I couldn't get no voice. So that hasn't been a problem that's been going on for 3 years. Problem that's been going on in this community for a long time. I think that should be looked at, not just now. It's a problem. We all know it's a problem. How I took care of it, I dealt with people because, like you said, with the RCP, most of them, it's useless calls. I didn't want to time out. I dealt with them myself. That's the way to clean up the problem. Get to know the people there and their problems. When you know that, then it's easy to move forward. I've done it for 16 years before the last 3.
Okay,
But
thank you,
there's
Councillor.
one. Thank you.
Thank you for the comment. Is there anybody else? I just want to touch base here a little bit on the community safety and well-being plan. It is very well known and there's copies presented there on the table. So I would think in hearing your presentation, I would assume that the next step would be for you to meet with the chairs of that plan. And Anthony, maybe we can help facilitate that. That would be because a lot of your action items are identified or in that plan and already being worked on. And like you identified, the chamber and some business owners are a part of this advisory committee. So that would be the next step for you. And there's copies there and we can help you facilitate that meeting for sure. And then the other part, I think if there's safety or business, if we're talking about business investment, I mean, the city's always open to having a meeting when it comes to business and investment and those type of strategies also. But I would ask you to take those copies and it's also available on our website for information also. And if there's any other comments from council, then we will receive this as information, or does anybody have any clarifying questions? Okay, I did communicate with the present co-chair, Dee Chaboyer, that you were presenting today and that we would like there to be a meeting now with your group to see the integration of your concerns and solutions that are already being identified. All right, so thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you.
We're going to move on now to community comments and feedback. And one thing that we need to identify in our community and comments feedback that was brought to our attention from a new council reading our organizational and procedural bylaw under bylaw 2017-202 section 9.13.1 under community comments and feedback is any community comments or questions that you would like to identify have to pertain to the agenda this evening. So if anybody would like to make a comment about anything that's on our agenda tonight, now would be the time, and you can come forward or stand up and state your name and provide any community comments that way. Second time for anybody who would like to make a comment about anything on the agenda tonight. Yes, please go ahead, state your name.
Councillor Kim, we played it from Nelson House.
I didn't acknowledge you earlier. Thank you, Councillor Linklater, for joining us this evening.
I'd like to hear, I was just with a Sid's presentation in the chamber. Actually, I have concerns because nobody ever brought discussion where it's a northern region that brings the money into the community as well, the community of Thompson. And we don't really see any solution. In our chambers, when somebody has concerns, we always recommend that they bring solutions. We know that there's a lot of social problems and people don't actually come out and say social problems, but they are. They're right across it all over the world. We all know that. So we're gonna keep going round and round. Winnipeg has the same problem. There's people that are sleeping like in a bus terminals, right? Or whatever it goes. But that's it. Where's the solution? And you don't think about all the surrounding, the neighboring communities that actually bring all the money to Thompson. And what about Walmart? What have they ever done to contribute to trying to help the homelessness in the community? Or all the resources that we have here in Thompson, how come they don't reach out to try to help these people? I know it's, there's human rights involved. But at the same time, to us, actually exactly what you said, they need to get to know people. So trying to help people. We face the same thing in every reserve. It's worse there than it is here. But that's become our norm. But we try everything else to try to help our people. And I know we have a lot of our people here. So one recommendation I make is that we go through, we invite all of the surrounding chiefs. So they can come up with resolutions as well, because this is the whole Manitoba problem. That's all I'm worried about is the northern part of Manitoba, not southern. But that's the only comment I had. I think there's a lot of unfairness in here. And in a way, I feel like it's really, I don't want to use the word racism, but I kind of sense this, and that doesn't sit well with me because I represent NCN. And for me, I represent my First Nation as well. So thank you.
No, thank you very much. I appreciate your comments. Go ahead, Councillor Moore.
Councillor Cheryl Moore from Nelson House. I'm happy to be back in my traditional territory of NCN year 35. I'm really glad that we're actually having supper here. We heard about the meeting, so we decided to come here. Councillor, what's your name?
Over.
Councilor O'Connor.
Thank you for your comments. And you're right, like you said, get to know the people. And what you said, these problems have been happening for years. It's not just because we've had a high increase in homelessness that all of a sudden that all the problems were happening. Like you said, these problems have been happening for years and years. And we're just wondering why, how come nobody comes to Nelson House? Only 45-minute drive. You drive like Ron, half an hour.
The police are here.
We have problems in Thompson. A lot of them were their members. A lot of them were Oxford House. I haven't seen anybody get from Oxford House. We're saying we have problems in Thompson. How can we come together to find solutions? I would have been nice to have MPO representation here too. We did talk to MPO before to see if anybody has come up to try and help the homeless problem. And it's so unfortunate that Thompson, I guess the province decided to build a liquor store right next door to Walmart. I think a lot of us can agree that it's not good. It's not a good feeling to go into Walmart. And you know what? I wish you could build a fence there, but I don't know if that's going to help. And then Walmart has also closed their doors. So it was such a nice feeling to walk into the mall from Walmart, go into the mall, and shop around there. City Center Mall has become a ghost town, and there's so much potential there. We don't want to see Thompson become the next Lee Rapids. And what if they open up those doors too? And Kim said, what has Walmart done? They
probably millions of dollars from out there on the community. It's not just Thompson House, but everyone else. How come they don't contribute? You know, and I wish we can, I'd like to make a recommendation if we can. Homeless shelter of the Strand strip there. You know,
I'll just,
there's
that has happened, that's
Okay.
been closed, and it's just 4 weeks into the opening now into the healing center, so that facility is closed now.
There's
Yeah, and that comes with growing pains also, since it's just been open that we're working with and identifying also, but yeah, that's one of the steps. And Counselor, that's come out of that community safety plan, that was one of the first priorities, was to identify that issue, so that's been moved. Brings some more issues, but it has been closed.
Thank you. So whose bright idea was that to build a liquor store right next to the?
Right at the park.
Right in the parking lot.
It was the province of Manitoba and the owners of the city center mall, but I
You know what, guys? Like I said, we're 45 minutes away. We'll help you, you help us.
We could be part of the
Absolutely.
solution.
Yeah, we can be part of the solution.
Yep.
Let's not just come here and say, oh, you know what, there's so many problems, and I'm offended by that town biz presentation. I'm offended. You know, why don't we come here and say that, here, this problems we have, let's sit down, let's come up with solutions. The last thing we want is for any member, no matter where they live, if they're from Thompson, Oxford House, Nelson House, wherever, is another person losing their life to the violence or to the cold weather. So thank you, guys. We're here. We're here to help you.
thank you,
Help us. Thank you.
thank you. Go ahead, Councilor Spence.
Councilor Rasmus, I think about how the finance.
You'll get
One of the surprising thing is that when I saw NCN bus lanes. And it's not NCN Thompson. bus lanes. So I'm kind of bothered by that, if it's only NCN and we have no input or say in anything. One of the statements that were made was that help from neighboring communities. Not once has anybody come to our community to ask for help or how we can find solutions. We have the realities back home in every other First Nation is that Nelson House alone has 500 homes, shortage of homes. And we're dealing with some of the people that remote communities, they come for a help, medical, and they're stuck here. I mean, there's so much reality, getting to know the person. Yeah, talk to one or two of those people, they'll tell you some pretty realities that really sad, you know, that's very unfortunate for them. We're very fortunate in many ways, but a lot of these people are very unfortunate, and whether it's their education or their health or whatever the case may be. That's so sad to hear that. And again, coming together, especially when our name and our logo is being used, you know, that really kind of bothers us. And you know, if we're not, the surrounding communities, if for one thing, if there's ballet, nickel is not here, mining's not here, it'll be the surrounding communities that's going to keep Thompson alive. It's always it's our back there, it's our home. Thompson is our home, we consider it our home. Most of these businesses, how much First Nations, how much money, how much economy has it supplied like from the surrounding communities, you know, and to come at least knock on our door, you know, respectfully and ask, like, let's find some solutions to something mentioned here. Where are the solutions? We've been working on this, and I have to commend Mayor and Council of Thompson. We've done a lot of things. We know that. How come those were not mentioned? You know, the positive things that have been done, and you guys have in Thompson to resolve some of these, you know, challenges. You know, those are the things that for us, you know, kind of bother us a little bit. And we're here to work. I mean, our doors are being open. Our land's been open for everybody, you know, to work together, but not throw anybody under the bus, which I felt like that today, you know, unfortunately. And I think it's time we come together and work together. And if we talk about the help from other neighboring communities, well, not once have they made a simple phone call or even an invitation. You know, that should happen going forward if you really are serious, you know, to keep their business alive. We want their business, we support their businesses. Everybody, all the First Nations surrounding communities do that. You know, I'm sure they have solutions like my colleagues mentioned. Maybe we should meet with the chiefs and councils in the surrounding communities, come up with the solutions, support the, you know, the economy. We have always supported, but to bring challenges, you know, when things kind of pointing the finger at, which I felt like, and that's not really the way to go. I think we need to come together and work together and find those solutions for the benefit of everyone.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. I'm gonna give you the last chance
Okay.
because I'm going past the 10 minutes and
Alright,
the mayor's gonna be mad at me, so.
Jim Bob, the former chief, I'm also one of the authors of the Aboriginal report.
Good on you.
two in Canada's.
Yep.
Yeah, I just wanna add what they're saying, I mean. I don't think we've been invited to sit in the meeting. I don't know what's happening with the average report committee or meetings. We wanna be part of the solution. I know the outline committees inject a lot of economy here, we support the businesses here in town. Why if they want to move, well, there's more business opportunities for us. But the point is, let's work together, collaborate together, and we can find the solutions. Not just like a small group of business people. I don't see our hotel listed in the list of businesses that are there on gas station. So we're all part of this. We're all northern people here. Let's try to work together.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate you coming here tonight and offering your support. And I think new chief and council and new mayor and council, I think in the last 4 to 6 weeks, we've really identified relationships and how we want to work together. And I mean, I went and saw your new school and it's wow. So I think moving forward, we need to continue that. It's hard work, but we have to. Now we need to come to Nelson Hills like you're here tonight. So thank you. Really appreciate your support. Councillor Wong, last comment.
Yeah, just a quick comment. Thank you very much. So I think you guys have a forum as well. So I administration already got the message. We're going to have a meeting soon. We're going to have a meeting soon.
Well, and Mayor Smook and Chief Levis here are there together in Ottawa, so I think it's all working well here. So thank you very much again.
All right.
Okay, we're gonna move on. So you're welcome to stay, or if you want to leave, I'm completely fine with that, because this is our first real big committee of the whole as a new council. So we're gonna move on to our RCMP reports. We have 2 members here come to the table. Your new inspector, you know what, why don't you introduce yourself to everybody here?
Sounds great, your worship and council. Thank you for allowing us to speak to you tonight. And I'll start off by introducing myself. So my name is Damon Worrell, and I'm the new inspector and officer in charge for the Thompson RCMP. I arrived about the first week in November. So I spent the last month just getting to know the community and the detachments and some of the policing struggles and challenges that I'm probably going to be facing over the next 2 years that I'm here. I have about 21 years in the RCMP. Since my 10th posting, the 6th at which I've been the commander in charge. A lot of my service was spent in British Columbia, about upwards of 9 years, I think, and 7.5 years in the Northwest Territories, as well as about 5.5 previously in Manitoba. I was the commander in charge of the Shamattawa detachment between 2012 and 2015, and I was also out in charge of the Island Lake detachment, overseeing Garden Hill, St. Teresa Point, Sagamak, and Red Sucker Lake, as well as Stevens Island. Between 2015, 2017. So I do have some service and experience working in northern Manitoba, which is why I wanted to come back. So I knew what I was getting into. I asked to come back to Thompson, and they were cool enough to take me back. So.
Perfect. That's a good introduction. Would you like to introduce yourself also, even though you've been here a few times, or?
Certainly. Staff Sergeant Shane Flanagan. I've been in Thompson for a year. Very similar service to Inspector Worrell, for 21.5 years, all of which have been served in Manitoba, where I'm from. With about a 50-50 split in the northern communities, Grand Rapids, Golden Leaf Rapids, now here, and southern Manitoba, in a variety of capacities, in which I actually worked on the first initial missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls task force at Winnipeg, 4 years. So yes, I've been here before. I haven't met all some of the new elected council. But we can certainly roll into some of the handouts that you folks have been provided, just as far as the stats. This is the month of October. We were a little bit behind. Typically, there's a month delay, but with the election and stuff, things were kind of pushed back. So these are a couple months needed. However, I'll just go through some of the maybe obvious changes from September to October. There was an increase of thefts. That was predominantly related to a couple of individuals in general. There was some businesses that were being predominantly targeted. There was 2 persons responsible, causes quite a bit of work. They are in custody Therefore, the November stats should show a decrease in those stats. I'm quite confident they will, in the next meeting. We did have a homicide in October, the 5th of the year here in Thompson, which took up quite a few resources. Person is in custody for that as well. Obviously, there's been quite a few media reports that are attached to the Thompson monthly report. I'll just kind of go through the newsletter. Obviously, Special Constable Phelan with our public community relations unit is always busy at the job fairs and stuff that are taking place at Artie Parker. This one is earlier, however, he just participated with our recruiting section over this last week. They were there again, and I think they're at Artie Parker as well, presenting. So, as well, some of you are aware, I've been working with Lyle and getting these murals up. This mural is in the upstairs of the detachment that was done. Thomas Tobacco was the artist on that, at least almost yet. He did it's vast, it's beautiful, in about 3 or 4 days. Amazing how I put that together. Obviously, it incorporates all the 7 sacred teachings in there, and how they kind of all blend together. So I'm going to conclude that. And then we've had 3 murals completed as well. We're waiting to go up in the front foyer, a large ceiling when you come into the Thompson detachment. So we're just working on getting the scissor lift in there so we can get them up, which the weather hasn't been very conducive to that lately. So at which time we want to facilitate a tour for the newly elected council and mayor. So we got that. There was some significant drug seizures, weapon seizures over this reporting period. So if you there was obviously some last community of whole meeting. There's just prior to the election, we had a variety of shootings happening in the city. These are directly related. These seizures are as a result of that. So we're hopeful that we should see those cease with a variety of persons in custody for those offenses. So great work by our GIS unit in Thompson for responding quickly and making those seizures. Into the mental health stats, I've kind of itemized them at your request, Councilor Valentino, as far as just the monthly cumulative. I think you'd requested that a while back. So this is as of October. It's in excess of $10,000 in overtime costs to our CP officers regarding mental health activations at Thompson General Hospital. And specific to the month of October, 56 calls for service, which equated to 29 hours spent with patients there. I included a new a line there, and I'll explain it. Form 14 callbacks. So Form 14 is issued when someone leaves Thompson General Hospital that requires medical care. They get up and leave for whatever reason. They issue this Form 14 and notify the RCMP, and it's our job to go find them and take them back for care. Because obviously it's a detriment to their health. So I've included that just because it does use resources up. So there was 3 for the month of October and 21 thus far this year. So I just wanted to include that. Kind of addresses a little more of some of the resources challenges in dealing with some of the mental health issues. I always include the divisional priorities in the newsletter just for reference. And some of the building issues we're working with Mr. Sopranos on is still some of the kind of northeast corner of the building, getting that kind of firmed up and weatherproofed. I know it's been back and forth, tenders, engineers are involved now, and so on and so forth. But I know he's working on it and trying to get it looked after. And yeah, it's the local Iris. The fellow that did the murals downstairs, McLeod from Norway House, his first name escapes me. I apologize. Jim. What's that? Jim. No, I can see it. It starts with an M. It just escapes me for whatever reason. He actually made those down in Winnipeg, where he resides currently. And he actually brought them up here this past week, stretched them onto the frames all himself, and then kind of touched up some of the paintings and stuff to get them ready to be mounted on the roof. So they're actually going to angle down as you come in, so you can actually look up and see them about 12 inches away from the wall. So, and it's it's one scene, 3 different canvases. I think it equates to about 17 feet. So it's quite large. So, that's all I pretty much have related to the RCMP in the report. And like I said, this is up to the middle of October. So we're still, November will be next meeting, and we'll try and get caught back up with some of the release. This was after the election and things that were happening this fall.
Thank you. Inspector, do you want to add anything?
No, I'll be presenting to you from now on. I asked Staff Sergeant Flanagan to join me for the first time here, just so I could see how it is normally presented to you, and I didn't stray too far off the track. So I'll be presenting to you from now on. This report is for you. If you want to see anything else in there that's not being reported, or perhaps there's something in there that you don't really need to see, you let me know and we'll make the report work for you and the council.
And likewise, I mean, you're new, if you think that there's a different way to do it or to add things, being more open to that also. So we can work it both ways. Council, do you have any comments? Councilor Wong?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So since we're gonna have a new chief in town, so we're gonna have a new way to do things, right? Anyways, I'm more focused on the moving forward. And we heard loud and clear tonight, a lot of concern. So I think we need to have more meeting with a high level of discussion. And I'm not going to touch on the report. The report just explained it itself, like we've seen that so many times already. But I do have a question about the mural that you guys just painted. Is it the wall that have a water leak though? Make sure there's not a wound.
It is
Okay.
not.
No. Okay, appreciate it. Thank you.
I apologize, Mayor Smook. She's had her hand up for a long time. It might have even been all the way back to community comments. So it's all you, Mayor Smook. Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the presentation, but actually my hand was up because Councillor Lundmark does not believe that you guys can see him, that he's been on in the meeting from about 5 minutes in. So I just want to acknowledge Councillor Lundmark is in the meeting. Thank you.
You, any other comments by council? Okay, I have a few things. In terms of the building. So mayor council will be doing their strategic plan and going into budget. So the building will be in consultation with Lyle. So council will be up to speed on issues, past issues moving forward. So that will be part of our discussions on that. Secondly, it's important for the public to know that mayor and council also met with D Division at the AMM conference in Winnipeg, which you were there at. So we did have a discussion there also. And I'd like the public to know, and you also, that in our recreation report tonight, coming out of COVID, out of some grant money, we are identifying an hour of hockey ice to our emergency services. So thank you for what you had to do and overcome with your all your attachment through COVID. The other part is I do have one question in regards to the hospital. Are we seeing any kind of a decrease in calls to the amount of maybe people warming up in the facility with the healing center being open? That healing center gave us more space for the cold weather. So before there was a lot of people utilizing the entranceway at the hospital for warming up. I'm wondering if we're seeing any kind of a change in that. Because just inspector, for your information, we use our outdoor rinks, the warm-up shacks for our cold weather facilities. So after I think it was 35 below was the wind chill, the CMHA would open those up and that's where people could go. So we wouldn't have any casualties from cold weather. So with the healing center opened up, it enabled more space. So we aren't opening up the outdoor rinks. That's going to be the warm-up facility. And we're hoping that that would also deter the use of the lobby at the Thompson General Hospital. Just wondering if there's any information on that.
Certainly, yeah. So there is less disturbance calls in ER TGH related to that. Whereas I think there's been a noted amount of disturbance calls related to that at the healing center. Right. So it's just a matter of the issue moving locations. As far as the I guess wait times at Thompson General, it's obviously it's determination of the time of the day and what's going on, what some of the medical emergencies they're dealing with. So I can say there was a significant one, which we can report on next meeting. This past month, November, where it was a 22-hour wait. So it was pretty significant. can reflect on that, with respect to where we're at the next meeting, but just a heads up on that one, so it's still a resource issue. However, it's necessary and we just spend a little bunches.
Thank you for that. There's nothing else from council. Thank you very much for your presentation tonight. Appreciate
Yes,
it.
sir, worship, council. Thank you for that, our vice secretary, greatly appreciate it.
You're welcome. We're gonna go into 6.2, which is the recreation report. Spoil your thunder a little bit on that, Sonia, sorry.
That's okay.
You're up.
So yeah, recreation right now, we've got a lot of stuff that's been going on. As Deputy Mayor had noted, we are actually getting 1 hour of ice time per month, no, per week, right up until the end of March to our first frontline person on. We've also actually, as well, has dedicated public skate time. Mama We Tuck Friendship Center will be sponsoring public skates from November 25th until the 31st of November. That's the expensive day to the community. Ice bookings during the day are full, and weekends, there are some openings on weekends and some evenings, but we're pretty much full there. The non-ice, the room bookings right now, the Bill Connects Wellness Center continues to be booked every day during the weekday, from 3:30 onwards. During the weekdays, there's some seniors, parent talks, and school classes that go in there. And then on the weekends, we have private rentals, birthday parties. For October and November events have taken place. TRCC hosted its first ever haunted house on October 29th and the 30th, about 6 hours a day. There was over 800 people that were in attendance. There was a paint night held with Jackie Traverse, took place in November, and that class is the second time that Jackie actually attended Thompson, and again, it was sold out. As well, in partnership with the Link, Jackie, with the assistance of the Link Youth, came to the mural on the wall at the TRCC, so it's actually located down towards the GB Arena. There's a wall down there. Unfortunately, I didn't have a photo to share, but the TRCC is also hosting Science Storage Climate Quest, with the interactive exhibition targeted for youth grades K through 12. It is free, and it's actual, you don't have to be in school to attend, so it's free to any public member that wants to attend. We did receive a $48,000 grant from Generate Canada Reopening Fund, and to kick it off, we have the first responders. We also are as well partnering with Fun Stop Thompson, and we're going to be assisting with Christmas decorations, and I think there's a map. We have a map right now that's actually online. So anybody who's decorating your house, they can pin their name or put their address on there, and there's different prizes that are going to be fun. We put our decorations up around the community, City Hall, TRCC, and a little bit and some downtown in the Swanson Library. We also held National Child Day and the Christmas tree lighting, that took place on November 6th. The event and facility coordinators decorated the float and the entrance into the Santa Parade on November 26th. And we're also going to be taking those decorations and others will be decorating a site at Wonderland. The whole committee is continuing to fundraise and hold events. We just held a Fill Your Freezer raffle. Winter Wonderland is going to be opening up on December 16th until the 30th. We're going to be holding a walkthrough night on December 16th. So we have never done that before, so that's going to be interesting. So there's going to be some free, I think we're going to be doing hot chocolate. There's going to be a place where people be able to take photographs, whereas that was never the possibility before because of COVID. We're ready to do that. And we're continuing to work on the racquetball room. We did get a continuation for the grant that we received. We've got to continue until August, because there is a possibility of having some additional space in the ceiling, is about 9.5 feet. So we're trying to work, I'm working with Lyle and his team to see if we can actually turn that ceiling into a floor so we can have some additional square footage up at the top. We are lacking storage in that facility, so we'll be better to get storage.
Thank you. Comments or questions by council? Council Wong?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I think the report It's pretty explanatory itself, and I just want to touch on the last thing you talked about, the ceiling, about the record ball room. Remember, we had a conversation, I say, well, all this stuff, you have to move it to the upstairs, it will be too much labor intensive for that. So maybe you just have to make sure that something is not taking so much time to move things around, just to go upstairs. So whatever the solution can come out, just make sure that not going to take up so much of time for just to move things around. Thank you.
Councilor Oberdorfer?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. My question is about the indoor play space. I'm wondering if there's what the plan is to reopen that space. I've been getting lots of inquiries from the public about why that space is still closed and if there's a date that it's going to be reopening. Thank you.
It will stay closed. It was recommendation of council to remove the equipment that was in that play structure. And we're working with his team to hopefully sell the equipment that's in there, but we'll be turning it into a different use. Recreational use, not storage.
Councilor Oberdorfer, do you have your hand back up?
Yeah, just to follow up to that, will there be a plan in place to replace, sorry, a plan in place to replace that type of a recreation facility, like having some kind of playground equipment that's indoor for young families in our community if we're going to be removing that playground equipment?
Yeah, our hope would be is to put some equipment out into the foyer similar to what you would have playing within in an airport. Some type of interactive games. It wouldn't be really climb on equipment, stuff that requires a lot of cleaning.
City manager?
Yeah, well, just to note that if council wanted, well, it's always council decision, so if council wanted to relook at anything, or if wanted us to consider some other type of equipment, that's something that we could bring back for council's consideration.
Right. Councilor McIver?
Just going back to the Christmas decorations part, and it's where I remember coming here and I see all these lights all over the place, it's maybe we can ask NCN, we can ask Manitoba Hydro to help make the light up for Christmas. It's late in the season, but it's where, I know Cross Lake got the idea from Thompson. And they're still doing it with the lights on the poles and everything, and that they're still doing that every year. But here we don't have it now,
City manager?
So what happened is, as part of the renewals, when Hydro was replacing the old poles, they put the new ones in without any plugins. So that's something that we've requested moving forward, that when they do these changes, plugins be put back. So these are ongoing discussions we have with Hydro, but at the moment, that's one of the reasons why the lights stopped, is we weren't able to plug them back in. But that's like I said, our discussions with them are any more renewals, that those plugins be available so that we can do the decorating mechanism.
And then it's not just for Christmas, too. We can say anything for Easter. Canada Day,
Councilor Wong?
Thank you, Deputy. I just want to add one more thing. I want to comment to your department this year. The light is nice for the city hall. I haven't seen that for a long time. That's a good job. Thank you.
Thank you. Just a couple comments. Councilor Oberdorfer might want to also jump in, but the pool committee would like to make a presentation to council, the new mayor and council, probably in the new year. And in terms of the free skate, we don't have skate patrol anymore, or skate patrols. So are we enforcing helmets, or what's the liability on the free skate at the TRCC? Because I've been asked that. Where are we at with that? Anybody?
Wants to take that one on. Right now, currently, we do not have a skate patrol. We do not have staff that patrol there. Yeah.
So do we have the helmets are mandatory signs that we used to use in the past for the free skates?
I would have to check, but I'd be able to answer on that.
Okay. If we can just do a little bit of check on that, because if somebody did get hurt and we aren't, usually I think arenas have to have some kind of signage for helmets for kids, youth going on the ice. And the other thing is, I know it's December, but are we having that discussion with our user groups on a date when the ice is coming out?
Yes, it is actually in the, arena. Our user guide, our user guide is actually has a date in there. So everybody's aware, and if they're working on winter two now, so there should be a meeting coming up again.
Excellent, thank you for that. Communication is so important to me on that. And I also have had lots of comments to similar to Councillor Wong on the Christmas decorations and that mural at TRCC. Just to backtrack to Councillor Oberdorfer, perhaps coming into budget, we could get some costs for some of those activities, like you had said, for similar to airports for youth. To put in that area, because you do see the ping pong tables being used lots, so maybe there are some things for smaller children activities that we could look at. You could bring some of that back, I think that would be great. Anything else for recreation? Okay, seeing none, we're gonna move to development. Director of Sopronics, lead your up.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. My report is published in your reading material. Just given the time and the fact that we've got a heavy agenda, I'm not gonna go through the detail. I did add, the thing I did add is the fact that we've added some information on budget spent to date on our two lights projects. So that information is there. That information will be updated as normal invoices come in. So at this point, I'll just ask other questions of council.
Okay. Councilor has a chance to review the report. Councilor Colburn?
Yes, my question is on the road renewal. Is that 2 years? Because in 2023, in April, I think it's April, that this year's work is supposed to be done. Now it seems like you got all that put in one project.
No, the work there, the work that's listed there from 23 is just the 2023 work project. All the 2022 roads, that's already been awarded. That I did not include those roads here.
You must have, because I don't know, because my street, Wolf Street, the little stretch,
Wolf, yeah,
right,
is part of 22.
is part of the 22,
Yeah.
but it's here again.
No, here it is, from Beaver to Wolf.
Okay, sorry, I misunderstand.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other comments or any questions for Director Sopronics? Okay, I think the permits are definitely a good news story with the amount of construction and commercial, for sure. That's, yeah, Councilor Lundmark would.
Oh, just a quick question with do we know when we'll be ready to tender the 2023? I know we're working on it. Just thought I'd ask that.
Which one, water? Or road?
For the roads, sorry.
Roads, they are expecting to have us the high level design by December. We will comment back and hope to have the tender up by the end of January.
Awesome, thank you.
You. Nothing more for development. We're gonna move into finance. 7.1 is a memo from city manager in regards to contribution agreements for a controlled entities. City manager?
Yes, so the city has a number of controlled entities. Their budgets are reviewed through your budget process every year. But because of the way these entities work, they need us to front flow them certain dollars so that they can continue to operate until council passes its final budget in May. So the ask would be that administration could bring forward resolutions to fund the Thompson Recycling Center in the public library, so they continue to operate the first 5 months. And then as council deliberates their budget, the final budget amounts given to them would be prorated based on what was given to them for the first 5 months.
So for council, this is something that's an annual thing. And so you saw the recycling center today present. So the other controlled entities, if council wants, will receive a full presentation with their budget. But in the meantime, this resolution that we would bring forward on Monday would be allowing us to fund them for that first quarter until we get our financial plan and our approval of how much to fund them for the remainder of the year. So that's pretty straightforward. Any comments? So we're good to move this forward as a resolution for Monday night. Everybody's good. Give me a nod if you are. That's great. Thank you. Okay, city manager, you got direction on that. 7.2 is a memo from city manager in regards to provisional estimates.
You have a question from.
Sorry, I got a question from Councilor Oberdorfer.
Apologies, it took me a minute to find the hand. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. My question is for the controlled entities. What year was the Thompson Housing Agency removed as a controlled entity? Because my understanding is they previously were a controlled entity, if that's correct.
Thompson Housing Agency is still a controlled entity. There is money
Okay.
put aside for them. They've just not been functioning.
Okay,
So
so they're
once
just not
they-
on the memo because of that? Okay,
That's correct.
got it. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, we'll go to 7.2, the memo from city manager in regard to the provisional estimates.
This is another housekeeping item that comes up every year. Council has to pass its budget by May 15th per the municipal act. And what we require is a resolution from council to fund us for the first 5 months, so that we can continue to operate until you finalize your budget. Once the budget is finalized, the amounts are prorated for the rest of the year to balance your budget back out. So we would bring forward a resolution on Monday, allowing us to continue to operate for those first 5 months.
And this is a resolution that's part of the municipal act that you will see every year as a member of council. Is there any comments or questions or concerns, Councilor Wong?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Just a curiosity, how you come up this number?
The number is calculated based on the last year's number.
So are we expected to spend like last year or less?
Again, it's just because it's approved and it's actually spent. So it's based on the previous years, divided by 12 and then multiplied by 5, so that you have the first 5 months.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so consensus, everybody's okay, this will be a resolution on Monday. Very good, we will move forward to 7. We're going to 8, safety. 8.1 is review the city of Thompson's 2023 emergency plan, who's speaking for that? City manager?
I'll speak to that. So we have a memo from our new safety officer. This is a yearly housekeeping item as well. There's a requirement from the province of Manitoba that city council adopt the safety plan for the coming year by resolution each year and then forward it off to the province. It's a living document, so it's constantly being updated with the current information, current contacts as people change their jobs. This has been updated as of last week. And we'd like to bring it forward for a resolution so that we can stay within compliance on our safety plan.
Thank you. Any comments or questions? Okay, Councilor Wong?
I just realized another, sorry that Chris Hasty still here, RCMP?
No,
That one should be updated.
sorry, which section is this in?
Under the external EOG members.
Okay.
Page 7, I believe.
Okay, we'll make a note of that. Like I said, if we, and whenever we identify an error, we can just update it and update.
Okay, so we'll move that forward to Monday night. Thank you. 9.1 is under public safety. It's a letter from Shared Health in regards to the continuation of the service purchase agreement. There's a letter attached. I'll have city manager speak to this.
This is another one that has been an ongoing lobby effort for the province, or sorry, for the city of Thompson. So to provide ambulance services, most places in the province delivers ambulance services themselves. For certain municipalities, city of Winnipeg, city of Brandon, city of Thompson, and I believe Fisher River, maybe a few, provide ambulance service on behalf of the province and get paid in return. We've been under the same funding model for a number of years with no changes. And there's been requests to meet and negotiate with the province on this. The province has been negotiating with the city of Winnipeg, but none of the others have had negotiations yet. They've forwarded off to us a request for us to sign the service purchase agreement for this year, so that we can continue to deliver the service on their behalf. As you'll note, there's no end date on it. To understanding that they need something signed for the insurance purposes, this is something for council to debate if you want to proceed with this. If you want us to bring it back with any questions, or if we want to sign it and put our own conditions on what we're signing.
Thank you. Questions by questions by council? Okay, Councilor Wong?
Negativity. I'm not comfortable to sign something that is not dated firmly, so I think maybe it's an opportunity for us to bargain about the rate or the same time.
City manager?
Yeah, we could send it back and say that we want a firm date that we, if council's open to it, sign for a year only, or sign for 6 months.
Yeah. Councilor Colbert?
Can we send it back and say we want to negotiate before we sign?
City manager?
Mayor Snook has met with the Minister of Health over that exact issue. And that's something that we've been bringing up on your behalf with the staff at the Ministry of Health. So this is something that we're continuing to try to negotiate on, but we haven't made too much success yet.
Council Coburn, are you done?
One other quick question.
Okay,
This is the same rate that we've been getting paid for the last number of years, right?
That's correct. It's the same rate that we've been getting in the past, but we found out that the city of Winnipeg, and the city of Brandon received substantially more compensation than the city of Thompson. Which is why it's a lobby.
Councillor Fitzpatrick. did you have-
That was done. Thank you, man. You just answered my question.
Okay, so I would be comfortable with signing it with a 6-month term or something with an end date that we want a negotiation. And I get they have to have it signed for liability and insurance, but I think we should have the end date. We should dictate the end date. Councillor Lundmark, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted everybody to know, and I don't know if everybody knows, but we have, our fire and emergency has more calls than Brandon. So if they're getting more, we should be too. That's a fact, right?
Okay, so what's the consensus on how you guys would like city manager to proceed? Do we want to sign this? Do we not want to sign it? Do we want an end date? What's the feeling here? Trudy, what do you think? I'm sorry.
Well, we should have some kind of negotiation or something that before we sign.
Before we sign it? Okay, Councillor Fitzpatrick?
I'm of two different opinions. I agree with Councillor Chung. Yeah, we need to have a negotiation, but at the same time, if we need this for insurance purposes, then I guess we have to give them what we think is an end date.
Okay, Councillor McIver?
I agree with Dr. Chung. That we have to take it back and look at it first, negotiate and sign, but I'm not going to sign the end date.
With no end date. Okay, yeah. Councilor, well, how do you feel?
I think negotiates definitely, but we cannot delay the process. I think put a 6 month is a good timing. So at least give a 6 month for them to wrap around the head and I would say the date, the 6 month date for that.
Okay, Councillor Colburn?
6 month end date and negotiations within 4 months.
Okay, Councillor Oberdorfer, Councillor Lundmark, Mayor Smook, are you okay with the 6 month end date signing it? Give me a thumbs up. Or not?
Yeah.
Councillor Oberdorfer?
Good with that?
Okay, so we'll move this forward. Anthony, you have direction?
Yes.
Thank you. We're gonna go to a memo from the Director of Recreation and Community Services in regards to the lottery license bylaw amendment. Yay.
So the lottery bylaw went through a couple months ago, and we recognized that the 50-50 tickets or the tear-off tickets that happen at most hockey games and whatnot was identified in there, but you had to fill out a whole sheet. So we would like to amend the new bylaw to indicate that we can have 50-50 draws, which would take place for tear-off tickets as well as sign-up auctions.
Perfect. Any other comments on this? So I just want to be clear about the silent auction, because Councilor Oberdorfer and I were in line at the craft sale at Juniper Center, and it was awful how we have our lottery bylaw right now. So the silent auction is also going to be able to use the ripoff?
Yes.
Can the silent auction still use how they used to use it, where they have the master one and then you just put in, like, does that matter?
Yeah, the two that you rip off, you keep one and then one that's in the bag.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
they also had where you signed your name, put it in there, and then you just put all the numbers. Is that
I think that's
the same thing, right? Okay, so the other question I have is on the 50-50s, or say a silent auction over a tournament weekend, or a craft sale was for a whole weekend. They can still do a weekend draw, but you had to follow those 3 things, right?
Correct.
Okay.
That's all
That's all
regulated by
been-
the province. That's not,
Okay.
that all comes.
Okay, all right. Mayor Smook?
Yeah, I guess my concern was that we weren't saying like they're actually sheet tickets that they use for the silent auction, not double roll. And one of the other concerns I've had from persons is that we're not consistent with making sure everybody gets their license to hold these, even when they were the old style, the 2 double roll tickets. So I think we have to step up our communications and that with persons so that they do know if they need a license for this and not one-offs. One needs a license and one doesn't. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Oberdorfer?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I would agree with Mayor Smook. One of my concerns was just that it wasn't specific enough, and depending on which staff and how familiar they are with the policy, if they're the one that's dealing with the public when they're coming to apply for a license, that might be concerning that they don't understand that the sheets are this also allowed to be used, not just the double roll tickets. And I was just going to say that I'm really happy to see this coming forward and that I'm going to support it because I don't know how many raffles I would support if I had to go through again what I had to this weekend when I bought tickets. So thank you.
Okay. Making us dizzy, Councilor Oberdorfer, moving like that. Okay. Do we get a little bit of direction on that, Director?
Yeah, I can actually check and add in if you want the word sheet tickets in there.
Okay.
And it's just a matter of adding the word.
Okay.
But just to go back, I think that I know when Carol did some research, it indicates that you can't, the draw has to be held during the game, there must be a start and end date, no pre-sales or carry over to another day, and the license must be posted at the event. Any ticket from other than the above example must have the requirements that you were talking about before, we had to write all that information down. So that comes from Mountain Liquors and Lotteries and Cannabis Management West, so that's their regulations, not ours. So the draw would have to happen that day. And it can't be a carryover or pre-sale.
Okay, but then it says here for a tournament where the draw is held at the end of a tournament, section 13 will apply.
Sorry, I didn't flip the page.
Okay.
Sorry, yes, right, I did write that.
Okay.
I wrote that.
Okay,
Yeah.
Okay, so it's gonna be
We're
okay.
good, yeah, and I'll just add in the sheet tickets.
Perfect. Okay, City Manager?
So the request would be that we could bring this forward for first reading of the bylaw. If,
Yeah.
The committees.
Yeah, you guys are good with that? We'll bring this forward. There's many user groups that are wanting this changed ASAP, so that's good. Okay, so now we're gonna go to 9.3 is a memo from Carol Taylor, Program Manager, in regards to the vehicle for hire bylaw. Who is speaking to this one?
I will between myself and Ray here. So
Okay.
we can answer questions. So in the vehicle fire, we've been given direction to go through the taxi bylaw and make some changes to the bylaw. So we were currently working on an old bylaw, but because we're making amendments to the bylaw, we now have to change it to the local vehicles for IRAC bylaw. Because it's no longer regulated, the Taxi Act and all other regulations associated with it, section 23.3 of the Highway Traffic Act. So it's now being replaced with this new vehicle for hire. So we've made quite a few changes in the bylaw. We did a brand new one. A lot of them came from regulations, so now we have a little bit more regulation over dispatch, operators, drivers, a little bit more over shuttles and nonprofit taxi cabs. It's outlined, there's quite a few in here. I won't go through all of them in the essence of time tonight, but there's, as listed in the memo that Carol provided, there is a lot of changes. A lot of them all stem around safety. And different things that were brought forward to us from members of the public and the industry itself.
Okay. I know that we had some discussions earlier. I just want to remind council that those were in-camera discussions. So we don't want to talk about that discussion that took place from 5:30 to 7. So, but if you have comments about this new proposal, now would be your opportunity to have those discussions. City Manager?
Just for clarity, this is a brand new bylaw, so it's not an amendment to the previous, so it'll be a new bylaw for the city of Thompson.
It will be your first new city bylaws, Councillor, something you will own. It's exciting. Councillor Wong, do you have your hand up?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. I have a little bit problematic with the wording with one of the changes. When you say when the license inspector is not available, so the designated employee, who is that?
That would be either the director or the manager of the department.
Can we just put the name, like the title instead of that, because it's very confusing? And it's more towards to like, if that person knowledgeable about more enough to deal with the taxi. I personally prefer just the inspector. That's why his job is, when it's not available, it's not available. So
City
that way there's no other side of the story, like that person's 100% in charge. That's what I would feel like to, but again, it's majority wishes.
Okay, no, city manager has a comment on that.
Yeah, so the designated employee is a term that we use in a number of bylaws. The reason it's written that way is because the power through the municipal act that council has is delegated to the CAO. The CAO designates the employees under them to do those duties. So this allows, if you only put one person, then you can sometimes get into situations where nothing can happen. So if the inspector's away on vacation and there's no other designated employee able to do it, nothing happens till they get back from vacation. This system here allows people to be designated as they need to do the work.
Councilman,
Just want I get the logic, but it's just like, who's the person? You know what I mean? It's just confusing.
Yeah, I think that's why it says to the licensed inspector or designated employee. So it does give a specific name, but it does leave the opening for someone to be designated.
I'm more concerned about, let's say I'm a customer, come here to look for the designated employee, who's that?
Yeah, it still says the licensed inspector. So if that person isn't available, then a member of management designates someone.
Right.
So it still is telling you who the person is you have to see, but it leaves that flexibility for the city to continue to do its work.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor Smook?
Yeah, I guess one of my concerns is, have we ran this by the cab or the vehicle for hire persons so that they have a chance to input in case there's things that need to be changed from their perspective, and maybe things that we haven't thought of because we're not in there. I found a couple things when I must admit I read it very fast, a couple things that I think they may bring us that are legitimate concerns for this. So I'm wondering if we're really ready to let it out this weekend. Thank you.
Any comments on that? If we've reached out to the industry?
There was a meeting held with the industry quite a few months ago. Not many people did attend. We did have it for the taxi owners as well as other operators. There was no concern with anything that we did add a few new things, but there was no concern. Their biggest concern was the use of non-taxis in the community, so they wanted to make sure that was addressed.
Right. So for council for tonight, because we've had many discussions about the taxi industry. With a bylaw, if we want this to go to the first reading on Monday, then we approve the first reading. We still have time to make changes or discuss or add things or not, but this will at least start the process to move it forward. City manager, is that fair enough to say?
Yeah,
like
that's
that?
correct. So you give it the first reading so that it's out there in the public. You've had your reviews, but if there are things that you need to tweak or concerns that are brought up, you then bring that up through the reading process. It will go through 2 more readings of council. It has to go for 3 votes essentially.
Mayor Smook, do you have your hand up again?
Yes, I do. I can support first reading and have that we're open to changes, make sure people know that it's out there so they can contact us. Thank you.
Is council comfortable to have this go to the first reading? You can still have suggestions or comments as we move it forward. Councillor Wong?
Thank you, David. I just want to cut clarification because I've been through that a few times. I thought once you have, you cannot do the amendment, can we? Is a new thing that I can do now.
Amendments can be made as long as you're not substantially changing. So if you're doing something that's so drastic, it doesn't have its original intent, then you can't be doing that. But if you're just making tweaks here and there, saying, I don't know, 5 cars versus 7 cars, small stuff like that, all that can be done.
The reason I bring it up because I've been through that before, like when we had, I'm asked for the friendly amendment. And now I got the answer saying, no, you cannot do that, you gotta do the whole entire thing again. I'm like,
Depending what it is, so if you do make certain drastic changes, the bylaw has to be rewritten because all the section numbers change. All the table of contents, everything changes. So that's where it's not sometimes a friendly or small amendment, that it has a drastic change to the whole layout of the document. The only other thing is for council to have a look at this is because this has been run through the lawyers, I believe, right? So everything has been vetted through our city's legal counsel. If you make some big changes or something unexpected, that'll likely have to go to legal to make sure that it's in keeping with the rest of the bylaw, that the city and the citizens are protected.
Tammy, did you want to add anything?
Yeah, and. No, I forget. You guys are,
All time.
I'm good. Anthony yielded.
Okay, so this has been ran through legal. We've had lots of discussions about this. Are we comfortable with having this go forward as a first reading on Monday? Give me a yes or a no.
Yep.
You're good with that?
I'm okay with it.
Okay, we're gonna move this forward. You have direction then to move it forward for the first reading. 9.3 is a memo. Nope. Yep, memo from Carol Taylor. 9.4. Look at us moving along here. Regards to the Municipal Bylaw Enforcement Act enabling bylaw amendment. How about that? Who's speaking of that one?
I will.
Okay,
So the Municipal Bylaw Enforcement Enabling Act, is pretty much the, screening officer gives the screening officer, guidance that she can actually deal with through any tickets that are issued through the enforcement department. So we've added, in order for her to do it, we have to add all of those new fees and fines to the Enabling Act. Which all the taxi ones are. So we've added all the taxi ones that we're talking about when it relates to the bylaw. And there's a couple extra on animal control that we've also added in here. Yeah, so we'd have to update, so we'd have to make these changes to the Enabling Act and to add the new fees and fines.
okay. So for council's information, the fee and fine schedule is also part of your budget. So you will see that the fees and fines is revenue in our operating. So we will have dollar attachments that will go along with these in the fee and fine schedule that you will review as a council through the budget process. So are you comfortable or any comments to these changes added into this bylaw? Seeing none, we're going to move this forward then for Monday night. We're gonna go back to recreation. Oh, yeah. Okay, recreation, 10.1, memo from the Director of Recreation and Community Services into waiving of the fees. Did I forget one? No. Fees for the Manitoba Trappers Association. Want to speak to this one?
I will. So the National Trappers Association happens every year, and it happens at in the TRCC at the gymnasium. And every year they bring forward for us to waive 50% of their fees. I know it wasn't included, they didn't indicate 50% in their letter that they provided this year, but I just been checking in the past, we've always given them 50% off the 2-day event. So right now the total for everything is $1,978.47, so 50% would be $989.24.
Okay. This is something that usually comes before council. It's a huge event in Thompson. We did get it now back to the TRCC. It was before going to the St. Lawrence Training Hall, St. Joe's, sorry. So now it's at TRCC, which we're happy to host. So if council is okay with this, we would bring this as a resolution on Monday night. Councillor Wong?
Thank you, Dan. The question is that did not ask for the discount this time, right?
They didn't ask for 50%. Looks, read the letter, and maybe it's, they're asking for 100%, I guess. They didn't indicate. I just kind of went on cast. It's always like 50%. But it just wasn't indicated in the letter that provided.
So the question is, are we giving the 50 or are we not giving the 50? Or you request to approve from 50%?
Requesting for 50%.
City Manager?
Yeah, the third sentence from the bottom, request a waiver of the fees.
What's a waiver?
Yeah.
So, okay, 50 is better then, thank you.
Councillor Lenmark?
Yeah, I believe that last year was the same thing. The question was, asked us to waive the funds and we agreed to 50% last year. So I concur with doing it again this year for 50%.
Okay. Council's good with the 50% for Monday night? Okay, you have direction, City Manager? 10 is 11.1, sorry, memo from the Executive Assistant in regards to appoint to external committees. If you two would like to speak to this.
Okay, So every year, council appoints members of council to sit on external committees for a 1-year period. That's approved by resolution. So you can see a list of all the committees that council normally sits on. We want to prepare resolutions for next week to appoint different members to council. There's 2 ways you can do it. If you can have discussions amongst yourselves and basically put your name down if you're interested, or if there's more than one person who's interested, we would then have an election in the room to determine who sits on those.
So this is the start of getting on committees. I'm hoping that we can have an open conversation and just get the names tonight instead of going through the process of a election on Monday night. So I'll just make the ask. Is there anybody here who would like to go on the Community Futures North Central Development Board? Don't
I would.
all raise your hands at once. Oh, Councillor Lenmark.
Yeah.
You're in. You're in. Everybody's okay with that?
Yep.
City manager?
Just indicated that you also need an alternate.
Oh, who wants to be the alternate? Councillor Colburn, thank you. Thompson Urban Aboriginal Educational Advisory Committee typically meets twice a year, maybe 3 times. It's a full day. Your commitment is a full day with them. Anybody like to put their name forward to that one?
In that case, it would go to election.
Councillor Colburn?
Yeah, I'll put my name forward.
Thank you, Councillor Mayor Smook.
I was gonna put my name forward for that one, but if Councillor Colburn wishes it, that's fine.
Hey, can you be the alternate?
Yes, I can.
Okay, very good. Next, we're gonna go to the Valet Community Liaison Committee. Everybody gets invited to that one. I always wonder why they see we have to have. Anyway.
Shall we just take that off then? We all get invited in.
We all get invited as council, don't we?
I think it's so that council has an official representative who's to report back to council, but Valley does invite all of council.
Councilor McIver? You want to put your name on that one? Okay. They meet quarterly and all the councils invited. It's usually lunch at the main office at Valley. Okay, no, we need an alternate. Well, I guess the alternate's all the council. Just put somebody's name down, right?
Yeah.
Councilor Fitzpatrick. Thompson Urban Aboriginal Strategy Committee. Councilor Oberdorfer, you want to get on that one?
I'm already on that committee.
Can she sit on it as both or no?
I wouldn't say so.
No? Okay, we need somebody to join Councilor Oberdorfer on Thompson Urban Aboriginal Strategy Committee.
I believe she's an ex officio on that.
I'll go on that one, unless anybody else wants to.
Well, I'll make that the new year.
Monthly.
Ooh.
It's usually a 4-hour meeting. 4-hour meeting.
Sorry, the meeting is 9 to 11 every third Thursday.
Anybody? Anybody want to go on that one? Going once? Going twice? Okay, I'll go on it, but I need an alternate. Early, be my alternate?
Yeah.
Okay. Got tough sells tonight. Okay, that all we need for that one? Okay. 11.2 is a memo from the executive assistant in regards to appoint council reps to controlled entities. You guys thought you were done. You're gonna go on these ones also.
So the controlled entities are organizations that the city council funds directly to help with their operation. As part of the agreements, a member of council normally sits on their board to kind of oversee what that organization's up to, report back to council. So the 4 controlled entities at the moment are the Thompson Library Board, the Boreal Discovery Center, the Thompson Recycling Center who presented tonight, and the Thompson Housing Agency. As it's also noted though, because of the Public Libraries Act, in January, another resolution will have to come back to appoint the person according to their process as well. So a resolution would come forward for ourselves in December, appointing you to the board, but then another resolution is going to come from their end, I believe, in January.
Okay, it's a bit of a 2-step process. Mayor Smook?
Yeah, if no one else wishes it, I would like to do the Thompson Housing Agency. Thank you.
Thompson Housing Agency?
Yes.
Is that what you said?
Yes.
Why is she jumping ahead? How about Thompson Library Board?
Question,
Go ahead,
what is the
Councilor.
meeting look like?
For the Thompson Library Board,
When?
I think they meet monthly, correct, Mayor Smook? In the evenings?
They meet monthly, usually on a Thursday at 5 p.m. 5, and it's a short meeting, 5 to 6 and 6:30 p.m.
So almost same as recycle center, same.
You want to go on the library board, something different?
I'll go on the library board.
We got Councilor Lundmark heading to the library board. We need alternates?
Thank you for your stepping.
No alternates. Beautiful thing. Okay, Boreal Discovery Center. You'd like to go on that one? Very good. Thank you, Councilor Chung. You are Boreal Discovery Center. Thompson Recycling Center.
That's the fun.
Councilor Oberdorfer.
Yeah, what are the meeting times for the recycle center? Do
I
we
think
know?
they're once a month on the last Thursday of the month, I believe.
Like evening, daytime?
Like 4:30.
4:30 to 5:30.
Okay,
5:30.
okay, I think I can. I'll figure out how to make it work.
I'll go recycling center.
Sure.
I'm gonna try if it's too much. You know, let us know instead of not showing up, and then we can always make changes. And we got Mayor Smook on Thompson Housing Agency.
Did you guys, do we have to have alternatives for that?
I thought we did too, but apparently we're not tonight.
Good enough.
All right, if you
I'm not
can't
happy
make,
about it.
but honestly, if you can't make your meetings. I mean, you can always reach out to council, right? And one of us can go, is that correct? City manager? No,
No, I don't think so,
oh.
because it's approved by a resolution.
Yeah, but if you're not being able to make it for whatever doesn't work in your schedules, please bring it to our attention so we can change it and have a resolution with the new person. So it's important that you communicate what happens in your committee meetings back to council also. Okay, we got 11.3, review of the committee of the whole regular meeting of council schedule for 2023. Any comments on this? Who's speaking to this?
So the schedule we've put together, the discussion that we want to have for council is, we've already removed a number of the holidays. But typically, under the previous organization structure, council will only meet once a month in the summer months, rather than every week. So the request is, do you want to remove 2 meetings from July and 2 meetings from August, so that you're going back to the more traditional structure? One of the reasons we find is that the amount of projects that are on the go this summer are high, and not as many people are around to make meetings. So it's easier to have 1 meeting a month. But in this case, there'd be a committee of the whole and a regular meeting, so it's still 2 meetings that month. But what we're also finding is if you cancel 1 meeting, a committee of the whole, you should cancel the regular meeting and vice versa. Otherwise, we get out of schedule.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
I'm okay with that.
I am too, because remember, you always have the ability to call a special meeting of council if something comes up that administration needs us to make resolutions or make decisions. Councilor Lundmark?
Well, I was gonna say exactly what you just said. We can always
Okay.
call a meeting if we need it.
Okay, so we're got direction on that. Okay, can I get someone to move to adjourn? Councilor Colburn, Councilor Fitzpatrick, all those in favor? We are adjourned. Thank you very much. December 12th will be our last regular meeting of council before the Christmas break. Thank you.
Wow,
Won't be here next summer.
go to the bathroom.
Run, Earl, run.
I shouldn't, if I was in the office, I'd be in the bathroom.
No, no, you can't, my friend, there's no room